Joining me now, News Nation's Leland Vittert. Leland is the host of On Balance. Leland, hello to you. So, 3 economic priorities for Yellen's trip to China. What's the main objective here that people should be paying attention to?
That may be the big question for the White House is what is the deliverables that we're going to get? Because the White House seems to have this policy towards China that so long as we're talking about things and the Chinese agree to things or say they're interested in things and we have sufficiently apologized to the Chinese and are trying to work together, then somehow that is a goal in and of itself. As you saw with the visit by Secretary of State Antony Blinken, the Chinese basically sat there and lectured the Secretary of State about all the ways they've been aggrieved. Typically with the Secretary of State, it's all the ways they've been aggrieved militarily. With Janet Yellen, it's going to be all the ways they've been aggrieved economically, and said, you, America, have wronged China. Therefore, you, America, must somehow repent to us, the Chinese. And that is their standard way of doing business. And so far, we haven't really seen any pushback to that from this White House. And I think the thing to watch for is whether or not Secretary Yellen sort of breaks from that and is willing to stand up to the Chinese and say, there's going to be real consequences to you, and you are going to have to do things if you want America to continue to doing nice things to you. Agree or disagree with the White House policy, but that's what it is.
Right. And evaluating whether or not these tariffs that have been put in place by the previous administration that Biden has left in place have had any impact at all on economic relations.
Yeah, look, you've got to look at this in a much larger sense. It's easy to say, well, economic relations and tariffs and everything else. This comes down effectively to hard power. What is the deterrence for the Chinese to stop doing bad things? What do I mean by bad things? Harassing U.S. warships in the Taiwan Strait and the South China Sea, continuing to pour fentanyl into Mexico and then into the United States and the precursor chemicals, continuing to spy on America with balloons and use coercive actions against Americans. Stop wrongfully detaining Americans inside China. The State Department's now warning that arbitrary detention inside China is now a thing. So you can look at these very micro issues, and the Chinese love to say, hey, look, we'll deal with all that, but really what we need to focus is on climate change, or really what we need to focus on is our economic cooperation. It's very difficult to get the Chinese to do anything meaningful and unless there's a carrot and a stick. And so far at any of these visits, there has not been any sticks.
And it seems like the American people are united in understanding the threat that China poses, not just economically, but militarily. We'll leave that topic alone for a moment here, Leland. The White House is investigating. The Secret Service is looking into this cocaine that was found in the West Wing. What more are you hearing about the shocking fact that this happened and how it happened and how likely it is they find who it belongs to?
It's shocking, but perhaps not as surprising that something like this happened. It's kind of wild. It's an area of the White House that people empty their pockets, and it seems as though somebody, whether it was a staffer or a high-level administration official or somebody who was there on a tour, had a dime bag of cocaine in their pocket, and when they emptied their pockets, they put it there. Okay, this happens. I think what's more surprising, what the big question now in Washington is why is it taking so long? This is one of the most closely guarded buildings in America. There are cameras everywhere. You can't walk 5 feet without a camera. You had Secret Service agents and members of the Uniform Division there. You have most of the people who are in the West Wing as employees have been fingerprinted. Therefore, if there were fingerprints were on the bag, you could rule them out pretty conclusively. Why has the Secret Service 4 or 5 days later not told us whose bag this is or who they have ruled in or out? And that, I think, is a serious question. Not so much that it happened, because they don't search you for drugs every time you go in and out of the White House complex. I've been in and out many, many, many times. But more shocking that the Secret Service can't figure out who brought it in or won't tell us.
It's a head scratcher, right?
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.